Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, we're getting close to saying goodnight on 2021. Goodnight Bodacious is a 10.9% double black IPA from Shorts Brewing Company in Elk Rapids, Michigan. You know, back in 2017 when I started this channel, at that time Shorts had just re-released Goodnight Bodacious. I was picking up new beers all the time. I just never got a video out about it. It just fell through the cracks. It happens once in a while. Well, when I saw when this was coming out again, I decided it was a good time to finally get a review out of this beer. To commemorate that purchase back in 2017, I also have an edition of that 2017 version here today. Now I'm going to try them out both at the same time, you know, one after another, not at the same time, but this review is only going to be about the 2021 edition. I'll just make comments about how it's different from the 2017 edition. So let's get a look at the bottle and we'll get it into a glass. But first, I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, Chad Shirk, and Cam Freeman for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, maybe even just throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks that are available only to patrons, including some giveaways. So let's take a look at the label. And before I start, I want to mention that while Short says on their website that this is 10.9%, and that's what I said in the intro, I have seen websites that listed as high as 11.4%, which I'm guessing they got from Short's own press release. This could probably all be remedied if Short's just added it to their own labels. You know, the ABV, that'd be nice to see. Just saying. So I'm going to grab the 2017 edition. That's what this is. This is actually a 4-year-old beer. I bought this in March 25th, 2017. I just found the receipt, so that's why I know exactly what it is. But we're going to talk about the 2021 label. They're really very, very similar. There's only minor differences to them. So if you look at the top, we have the Shorts dancing bottle cap, the dancing shorts on the bottle cap with a bunch of hop cones surrounding it. On the front of this bottle, there's nothing on the neck as typical with Shorts beer. It says Shorts Brew in like a greenish yellow. It has a cow skull or a bull skull, I guess, and it has a constellation in here. It says Goodnight Bodacious. I believe Bodacious is what the name of this constellation is. I could be totally wrong on that. I thought I saw something about that. But it says Goodnight Bodacious, Double Black India Pale Ale, unabashed power, embracing absolute darkness. If we turn it to the side here, it has a nice blue color, hopefully matching the blue behind me. It says brewed and bottled by Shorts Brewing Company in Elk Rapids, Michigan, handmade by people who care. Has the shortsbrewing.com website, 5-cent deposit, 10-cent Michigan deposit, all that good stuff. On the other side is just the government warning, and again, the Shorts logo. If we look at these two beers, I'll do a close-up of the 2017 version. The only real difference here is that the bottom, where it says Double Black India Pale Ale, unabashed power, embracing absolute darkness, it's just a bit of a different, I believe the fonts are actually, they're very similar. It just doesn't have the outline around the font. It makes it a little bit easier to read on the new edition. The other difference is that the font is different on the brewed and bottled by Shorts Brewing Company, etc., etc. And then on the other side, the government warning is a little bit different. There's a UPC. Still no ABV, though, on either bottle. And I don't have dates. Oh, wow. Okay, actually, I'll see if I can get a close-up. This 2017 edition was bottled on February 23rd of 2017. And, so this other one was bottled on November 12th, 2021. It's going to be really hard to see that, though. It's like a black imprint on the dark label, on the dark bottle. So I do know which one's which. I'm going to grab two different Tiku glasses here. We're going to grab a Witch's Hat Tiku and the Draft Therapy Tiku. I'm going to put the new one in the Draft Therapy Tiku. The old one's going to go in the Witch's Hat bottle. So let's put a nose on the bottle here. We'll see what we get out of the nose on this one. Really has a nice, deep, roasted kind of aroma to it. It's got a bit of that kind of IPA bitter aroma, but it smells like an IPA, like a black IPA. They have a nice kind of roasty, strong presence. Let's go ahead and pour it. Really dark out of the bottle. This looks like a stout, honestly, on the pour itself. And we're going to let the head kind of rise up on that one. And if we look at it, I'm getting a nice, I'd say about 2.5 fingers of head, a really nice dense head. There's like a really large bubble here on the side here, but the rest is very compact, very dense. Holding it up to the light here, nothing doing. Like, I'm not seeing through that. I'm actually seeing my reflection. I'm not seeing any light pass through here. The head is a bit off-white. It's shading towards a tan, a little bit lighter than khaki. I'm sorry, a little bit lighter than coffee, more of that kind of tan khaki kind of color. Again, this head looks like something you would get from like a stout. I mean, it's not any different. Nose on the glass, again, a lot of those kind of roasty aromas. It has a nice, a nice, almost coffee aroma in there. I'm going to try this first, then I'm going to open the old one, because I don't want these two to like, I don't want the old one. I know it's going to be a different taste. It's a 4-year-old beer, 4-year-old IPA at that, you know, to that point. It has been in the refrigerator the whole time. It's been in the same place in the refrigerator that whole time. But let's try it out. Cheers. So the mouthfeel is a nice, chewy, medium to heavy mouthfeel. It's got a nice, it's just got a nice mouthfeel to it. It's got a bit of that chewy kind of note to it. If you are an IPA fan and you like chewy IPAs, you're going to love the mouthfeel on this because it's just up that same kind of, in that same kind of vein. Let's talk about the flavor. Up front, it has a really nice sweetness to it. It has this malty sweetness that really kind of kicks at you. You have a bit of a roasted maltiness in there as well. And then on the back end, you get like big, piney, resinous flavors. A real, like, if you dig piney bitterness, you're going to dig this beer. If you haven't had it before, I'm sure a lot of people have. This is one that comes around. Everybody anticipates it when it comes around. It's just a really nice example of black IPA. The other black IPA that I really enjoy, and black IPAs are kind of what got me into regular IPAs. It was like my gateway via black IPAs. The one that I really liked was Self-Righteous from Stone. That's the first black IPA that I really had, that I really enjoyed. This one is, I would say this rivals that one as being a very good black IPA. If you were looking for a black IPA, this like is a great version. Of course, this is a double as well. Yeah, just a nice malty sweetness, a little bit of a roasty characteristic in there. It also has, you know, that nice piney resinous. I mean, it's an IPA for sure. There's no doubt that this is an IPA. We're going to set that to the side here. Now I'm going to open the 2017 version. I just kind of want to get a taste side by side to see how much it's changed. And I had bought a 6-pack, so I've had 3 of these. May have actually given some away. I'm not sure. But, you know, I've had a couple of them over the years, but I'll have 2 left after today. The nose on this isn't quite as strong. And again, this isn't any kind of indictment against this beer. I was just curious, having a beer, you know, having this beer sitting around, let's go ahead and pour it, how much different it would be. The pour looks almost identical. Like the color from the pour, it has the same kind of, you know, stream. The look to the stream is still this. It's very similar. The head is a little bit less. I had to pour it. You saw me. I poured it real aggressive. I poured the whole bottle. Whereas on the new one, I hadn't even poured all of it, and it was still there. The heads, actually looking at this one, the newer one looks a little lighter. This one looks a little darker. It's about 1.5 fingers. I think maybe at max it was 2 fingers. The head is similar, but this one was a lot foamier, a lot creamier looking. Had a little bit more of a dense head. This one, not so much, but that's fine. You know, it's 4 years old. So putting a nose on it, I'm getting a lot more of the maltiness out of the aroma. It has a bit of a bready kind of aroma in there too. So you're not only getting like a sweet malty aroma, but you're also getting a bready kind of aroma. So let's check out the color. Same thing. I mean, I'm seeing my reflection, the blue behind me. I mean, I'm not seeing anything through there, and that looks pretty black to you guys too. There's no real difference there. It's not like, you know, you're able to see through it this time, or with the heavy lights hitting it. Let's try it out. I'm ready to try it. Cheers. I would say that the big difference between the two of these, the mouthfeel is still very similar. The big difference between these two is that this one, the older one, as it sat around, the hops have kind of fallen off of it. The bitterness has kind of fallen off of it. It comes through a lot more of that malty sweetness comes through, whereas the new one, it's more of the malty sweetness is in there, the roastiness is in there, but then you get that big, you know, punch of resinous bitterness. But this new one is just a lot sweeter. Yeah, this one has definitely has a lot more bitterness to it. The older one, obviously being older, the hops have kind of fallen out of it. It's become a little bit more of a sweeter beer just overall. I'm happy to say that the mouthfeel between the two have really stayed the same. The only real difference between, whoa, I almost knocked that one over. The only real difference between these two beers is that now we just have a whole lot sweeter beer. You lose a lot of that hoppiness, you lose a lot of that resinous bitterness. Honestly, I'm not tasting really much bitterness in this at all. It doesn't really, as you would expect, it doesn't really resemble an IPA much right now. You kind of get a little bit more of a, there's almost more of these like dark chocolatey kind of notes to it, whereas this one, because the bitterness is so much stronger, you don't pick up much on a chocolatiness. You get a little bit of a kind of a coffee flavor, but I think if the hops fell out of this one too, you'd obviously get that same kind of chocolate kind of richness to it, which I would believe would have to do with something to do with the malts, that were used. Just kind of those darker malts, you get more of that chocolatey kind of flavor out of it. I'm not going to do it right now, but I would be really interested to mix these two and see like what really changes out of it. But if you had a four-year-old version of this beer hanging around, it's still a great drink. It's still a great flavor. It's different, obviously it loses the bitterness. You get a lot more of that malty sweetness. But the new version, definitely, if you're a black IPA fan, if you're an IPA fan, you're looking for something a little bit different, especially all the hazies, all the New England styles. It's hard sometimes to just find a straight up normal IPA without all the, all the haziness and the sweetness and all this and that and the other. I think you're still going to get some of that sweetness here, but you're going to get that bitterness. It's almost like, it almost feels like a throwback at this point, right? Because there's so many beers that are out that are IPAs, labeled as IPAs, that don't really taste like a traditional IPA. So I think that Goodnight Bodacious, the new version, actually, a current version, is a good beer for that. You still get that IPA-ness, has that bitterness, definitely has the bitterness, has that kind of malty sweetness that you would expect, especially from a Midwest-style IPA. I think Goodnight Bodacious is a great beer. I think the old version is still pretty good. It has a nice, like I said, you just lose the piney resinous kind of bitterness in there, but you still get a lot of that malty sweetness that you expect, a little bit of that roastiness, a little bit of that chocolate that you don't get out of the new one. If you ever have any kind of experimentation, you want to experiment with stuff, hold an IPA for a while. Turns into a little bit of a sweeter beer, turns into a little bit more of a barley wine. You guys all know I've drank enough old beers in my life, old IPAs, especially on this channel, to talk about it in a somewhat educated fashion. If you want a nice kind of change of pace, definitely, pick up a Goodnight Bodacious anyways, or you can hold on to one for a few years like I did and get something that's totally unexpected and totally out of the ordinary. All right, friends, that has been Goodnight Bodacious from Shorts Brewing Company up in Elk Rapids. Have you had this beer before? Have you had it in years past? And do you think it's changed a little from edition to edition? And would you ever age a beer like this? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite or not know to avoid your latest clunker if you're not subscribed and get those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries. These guys are obviously in Elk Rapids, Michigan. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Cheers.